Report.ca. Say it ain't so, I said. And I've actually never said that in my life. But when I found out that a Ryerson, left-wing Ryerson University in Toronto professor had indicated very clearly to a student that their entire premise of an essay was wrong, and the student had to check out feminist sources only, well, I had to look into it further. So here's the way that it works. The gender gap, this patriarchy thing that all these feminist nut jobs out there want to try to continue to convince you and I is true, is not true. And the argument was by a female student that there is no gender wage gap. Women do not get paid less for the same job. Women just, on the average, make less because, well, here come the reasons. First, the teacher's response to this girl. She says, "Hi, Jane. First off, your premise is wrong. The wage gap is very real. So the reason why you're having this problem is because you will not find any sources that state this. So when you're looking for lies, you have to go and dig, and then find some lies elsewhere, which would not be factual. It would just be lies. The way the wage gap works largely today is through the glass ceiling. Here's your definition. Glass ceiling is a metaphor used to represent an invisible barrier that keeps a given demographic, typically applied to women, from rising beyond a certain level in a hierarchy. Couldn't possibly be true. I've had many women bosses. Okay. Perhaps you want to write, on the glass ceiling, you need to look at feminist sources on this issue. Why? Because feminists lie, and I'd rather you lie to the general public in a Ryerson University essay. I would suggest beginning with Caroline Gatrell's book, Embodying Women's Work. I'm not even going to look that one up. Forget it. Chapter 7, she knows. She knows where to find the lies. Chapter 7 looks specifically at the glass ceiling, which again does not exist. Do not use business sources. They blame women. The reality is patriarchy. You need to do a lot of research, which means don't go to big government sources that are easy to find. Go find obscure, esoteric things from feminists that were written back in the 50s, 60s, well, maybe 70s, 80s. 60s probably not so much. It's fine. She tells her to go back to the 1970s and research it. Okay, now, here is what this student was not allowed to use as sources. The Toronto Star. I find that odd because the Toronto Star is left-wing garbage. Certainly would appeal to feminists. The Toronto Sun, certainly a better paper. The Globe and Mail, definitely a better paper than the Star. The National Post, most definitely better than Toronto Star. Magazine articles from Maclean's Newsweek. The Economist? You can't go to The Economist for factual information? Encyclopedia references, including Wikipedia. Dictionary references. You can't go to the dictionary to find out the meaning of words, including the Oxford Dictionary and other dictionaries. Non-scholarly websites or blogs, etc. You're not allowed to use these sources to write articles about the lies that are perpetuated in our society. All right, so students should also note that government websites and statistical data are not scholarly sources and will not count as one. The 5 scholarly sources required for this paper, they would not count as one of 5. Government websites and statistical data provide information that is not scholarly and not analytical. That's what a stat is it not? I mean, you're collecting statistics, and if you're just looking at statistics that have been collected professionally, then you, the one writing the paper, is analyzing them. Statistics denote a social trend, but can be interpreted in numerous and contradictory ways. I've covered statistics in a previous video. Okay, look. The use of government data requires critical sociological analysis. Please note that these government websites and statistics include, but are not limited to, the following: Statistics Canada, Ministry of Immigration and Citizenship, Government of Canada website, Government of Ontario website. You're kidding me. You cannot use anything factual if you're writing an essay in some kind of women's class at Ryerson University. But you can use, and only are allowed to use, feminist rhetoric, anti-man, hate-filled doctrines that are not based in reality or on fact in any way. So I wanted to just do a quick comparison here as to why you would perceive there to be a gender wage gap, is because what happens is feminists only use the median numbers, all right? So take all the salaries of all women and take the salaries of all men. You'll find an average number for men is higher than women. And they say, you see, that proves our point. But they don't factor this in, is that there are nowhere near the number of women as there are men as airline pilots, brain surgeons, nuclear physicists, garbage men, or sanitation engineers, but I'm not going to call them that. Cell tower repair versus teacher, part-time Arbonne agent, secretary, cashier. Now, I'm not saying all you women out there just do those 4 jobs, so feminists, shut up, all right? I'm just giving a comparison here that even a university professor is not going to make the same amount of money as a guy who's highly skilled at repairing cell phone towers and has to hang off them 300 feet above the ground to repair them. And did you know that cell phone tower repairmen have often been warned that sometimes guys go out in the middle of the field and shoot at them for fun, for target practice, literally, which means men die at work more often than women. All right? Women also tend to refuse to do the nasty jobs. I don't know any chick out there that walks through sewers in Toronto, Mississauga, Calgary, Edmonton. I just don't know any. And men, once they get into a position, even if they don't like the job, they'll tend to stick with it a whole lot longer. That would mean that in most cases, men, especially those who know they're not smart enough to grab jobs elsewhere, will stay longer and make more money for the employer. And there's many more examples, and I don't really care because I was warned that if I'm going to be doing any kind of public speaking, I should not be doing it at Ryerson University because they're a bunch of left-wing nut jobs. And I said, come on. And, well, now I know. So I'm going to avoid Ryerson University at all costs because left-wing nut jobs can only do one thing, and that's produce more of them. So if you're looking to spend money, I can't tell you not to spend your money at Ryerson University, but I'm saying that if you go to Ryerson University, you're going to get a very low-end education by very low-end people teaching you nothing about nothing and telling you that you have to cite stupid people who have written garbage based on nothing. So yeah, go ahead. Go into debt. Go get an Ontario OSAP loan to pay for that and then pay it off for the next 20 years, having learned nothing from nobodies. It's your right. There is no patriarchy. There is no wage gap. And I'm done with this topic. Kevin J. Johnston, freedomreport.ca.